Hey everyone, welcome to Reverse Homesteading. Today I am running against the clock. Brussels sprouts take around about the same time as tomatoes. So we are going to pretend this is going to work. I'm not even going to bother to harden them off. They're at a produce store that I go to fairly often to get some bulk things. And yeah, so they're not plant growers, but these come from a small independent grower, so I thought, well, maybe they'll just grow really well. My soil that I got from the landscaping place here is actually quite good for nitrogen, which is great if you want nitrogen. These poor old garlic don't especially want that much nitrogen, I'm sure. But we shall go with what we have. I'm sure tomatoes, at least at the beginning, would be happy to have a fair bit of nitrogen. By the time they get a bit bigger and want a fruit, they will need some other things like potash and potassium in there. So I'll just gently pull these apart and just hope they grow really quickly. We're already up to the frosty end of the year, and so this is a bit of a punt, because I planted 3 times to try to get Brussels sprouts from seed this year, and it just did not work. I don't know what was going on. Guessing the seeds are a bit old. I don't know how old, but I did plant them the year we left Melbourne to go to Queensland, so maybe the seeds were that old. Maybe the seeds were 4 or 5 years after I purchased them. So as you see, I'm invading my garlic field again. So I'm just going to get planting on these. I also found some beetroot. I purchased them for the same reason that I purchased these, is because more than once the seeds didn't work, and I just happened to be at that spot getting other things, and I thought, oh, seedlings, let's take a look. So that's how I've ended up planting Brussels sprouts in winter, which is not ideal. I believe they're a very end of summer into autumn crop if you're starting from seed. If you're starting from seedlings, definitely get them this size in autumn. So I will keep going with these, and I'll show you the beetroot in a minute. So there's my little punnet of $4.99 Australian Brussels sprouts, because my other ones didn't sprout. The other reason I purchased them was that I could see it was very fluffy, peaty kind of soil, so I knew they would have good roots on them. But there's those little ones all watered in. So the next planting is these little beetroot plant starts, as you say in the US, or seedlings as you say in Australia. The Brussels sprouts were a baker's dozen, so 13 of those going in. These are probably closer to 20. As you may know, you often get more than one little beetroot coming up when you expected to plant 1 or 2. I've planted the Brussels sprouts underneath the net behind me because they are a brassica and the cabbage butterfly will be after them potentially. The other beetroot are in this garden bed too. They're actually from the same nursery. They're also started because I couldn't get my seeds up. So weird. A lovely lady from overseas in the comments is having similar issues, so who knows what that is. Temperatures this week have been rather chilly. 9 overnight to about 13, so that's 48F to 55F. Pretty cold, even for Melbourne. I mean, Melbourne does get that cold regularly in winter. So look at those gorgeous roots. As I said, very peaty mix, very spongy. That's where you get the good roots. I might look again at my own seedling mix. That might be part of the problem. I used to buy, no affiliation with anything, but I used to buy Searles gardening mixes, potting mixes and seedling mixes. I haven't found a retailer who seems to regularly stock them. Goodness, some of these don't have their second lot of leaves, but they're coming. So yeah, let me know if you're in Melbourne and you know where to buy Seals products, Searles, and I'd be happy to know about that. Trying to get away from the bigger stores at the moment. If you've seen my previous video about crotons and maidenhairs, a lot of the bigger brand hardware stores where they have plants in Melbourne are a franchise, which means to an extent they seem to be able to set their own prices. So they invite you to negotiate if it's not the best price. Apparently they'll beat it by 10%, but I don't like to have to negotiate to get a good price. I'd rather just go somewhere that has a good price and or a good product in the beginning. I don't want to have to fight for it, but that's just my personality. Anyway, I'll get to planting these and I'll stop waffling. I'll see you in a minute. So we're almost out of usable light, but that's our little beetroot babies tucked in. Goodness, I was going to count them, but there are a lot of them. My fingers are killing me. It's so cold out here. I am going to go inside and get a warm drink, but they're all around the edge of this bed. So this is the bed I put frost covers on. So that should be fine until they really start kicking off. These ones were bull's blood. These globe beetroot. Detroit Globe, I think, is usually the variety. We shall see. It doesn't really matter, they will be beetroot. I thought I'd show you my op shop gardening clothes, my thrifted, as you would say in the US. Nice floppy, warm, thin jumper in some very busy pants. But they do the job. Kind of almost autumn colours. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you're having fun in the garden, and we'll see you next time.